Hi everyone, welcome back to DeFi Daily. Today we are going to talk about Bitcoin and how we can use it inside the DeFi, but in order to do it we have to resolve a couple of problems. And we will do it discussing through the solution that Dekus is proposing that is also sponsoring this video. Before to start guys, I would like to ask you to subscribe to the channel. You have to do is just to press the subscribe button, and if you want to also receive notification on your device, just press the ring bell button. And remember that the best way to sustain me and also help other people to retrieve this kind of content is drop me a big thumbs up and also a comment. In this way you are challenging to the algorithm that this content is valuable and more people will see it. Remember also that all the contents in this channel are just for educational purpose and nothing has to be intended as financial advice. If you want to invest in anything, that's great, but do always your own research first. Okay, let's start with the topic. Empower your Bitcoin. This is the mission of the course. If we really need something that is able to empower Bitcoin, I want to show you a couple of numbers. I don't know if you are aware of the capitalization of Bitcoin. The capitalization of Bitcoin is around right now $1 billion. But in order to use Bitcoin into the DeFi ecosystem that right now, according to DeFi Llama, has a total value locked of 262 billion. So it means even the total value locked inside the DeFi is much lower than the single total market cap of Bitcoin. The problem is that in order to use Bitcoin inside the DeFi protocol, we need to move it from the Bitcoin blockchain to another blockchain, or at least to tokenize it in order to make it possible to use it inside all the other blockchain. Maybe you are familiar with tokens like WBTC. If we go through the CoinGecko ranking, you will see that at the 7th position there is the wrapped Bitcoin. What is quite impressive is, if you think it, that wrapped Bitcoin is the biggest token that is tokenizing Bitcoin in order to make it available into the DeFi ecosystem. But if you look at the number, you will see that right now there are only 12 billion. And 12 billion, if you compare this number to the whole market cap of Bitcoin, is so low. And that's quite impressive. So it means that the most part of the Bitcoins is not used yet inside the DeFi. And there are several reasons because this is happening. The main reason is because all the bridges, let's call it in this way, that are providing you the service to transform your Bitcoin in something that you can use inside the blockchain are still, let's say, young and with solutions that are not so omnicomprensive, not so secure, not so decentralized as we would like. And that's the exact point from which the Dekus solution is starting to work. I want to show you this image, not really to highlight what could be the advantage of using sats. We didn't have speak about yet. But what I want to highlight you are the different problems, the different challenges that this industry has to face in order to be able to bring all of this value. Because imagine what we can do if into the DeFi we have more than 1 billion of liquidity in addition to what we have right now. It would really be possible to make a lot of things to create much more value and more gains on the other side. But in order to do it, we have to solve all the challenges that are typical of this market. The first challenge is we want to create a system that is able to bring Bitcoin to DeFi through a decentralized system or through a centralized system. The main difference is that when you are using a centralized system, there is, let's say, a company like, for example, USDT. USDT is a stable coin that is representing $1 that is backed and managed by a company. The same is happening when we are talking about WBTC. It is a centralized system. Another story is when we are talking about REN BTC, that is on the other side is decentralized. On the other side, user need to deposit a BTC as a collateral. As you can see, most of the solutions are using it. That's quite easier because it's much more powerful to give you the opportunity to user to bring one Bitcoin from their Bitcoin blockchain and receive on the other side some Bitcoin that is representing the same liquidity have just added. Obviously, into a next future, we can even improve this method, creating new different ways to create liquidity, Bitcoin liquidity. But it's something that should be probably a second step. Right now, we have still the basic. We have so many Bitcoins that are blocked inside the Bitcoin blockchain that they don't have any use cases. What we want to do is creating use cases for that kind of Bitcoin. So using Bitcoin as a collateral could be quite useful. The maximum market cap, so the maximum amount that can be minted through this system in order to bring more liquidity to another blockchain. As you can see, each system has its own rule. The point is that in the moment when you have a decentralized system, you don't have anymore a company that is managing for you your Bitcoin. But in a decentralized system, there are many people that through a system, through a smart contract, through a blockchain, are interacting and are keeping the custody of the Bitcoins that are deposited by the users that on the other side are receiving some token that is representing the liquidity have just added and that they can use on other blockchains. The problem is how much the people that are in custody of it have to deposit in order to being able to participate to the system and on the other side also gain rewards, because obviously you have to reward people that are doing this kind of activity, otherwise no one would have the interest to do it. And this is pretty important. As you can see, most of the decentralized bridge are requiring a level of collateralization that is quite high. On RentBTC there is the 300%, on TBTC is 100%. And that's pretty a big problem because all of us are loving a decentralized system, but what we need is a decentralized system that should be optimized in order to enable people who want to participate to this system to not have to deposit an insane amount of capital in order to be able to receive, to participate this kind of system. That's also one of the main reasons, because all the different decentralized Bitcoin bridge, let's call it in this way, are having some difficulties to scale because the entry barrier is quite high. Last point is users have the possibility to be liquidated. Yes, this is another problem that is not so common. Only one solution is offering it. As you can understand from this brief overview, there are many different solutions on the market, and each solution has his own limit and his own peculiarity. I'm not here to say you use it this one, use it this other one, because it's something that is quite subjective. What I want to highlight to you is how the industry is working and for which reason solution like, for example, what Jacuzzi is working on could be something that we will see it into the next future. Because there are a couple of things that the Jacuzzi system is introducing and they are truly able to improve the standard of the industry. Before digging into the solution on what is proposed in the course, I want to say also a couple of things about the company. As you can see from their website, they are backed by several important partners and investment funds, and this is something that is quite important because we are not talking about just the typical anonymous team. Yes, we don't know exactly who is the team behind because the main team is a Chinese team and they can't show their own due to some regulation, so we don't know exactly who they are. But on the other side, seeing that the people that are behind are backed by so big capital ventures is something that is quite assuring us that we are in front of a company that is doing stuff in the right way. Finally, they are also audited by the Slowmist, that is a company who is producing audits about this kind of topic. Understood this, let's try to understand how does it work, their whole idea. And I will divide the discussion into two different parts. When we talk about Dcus, we have to know that they have introduced two main novelties. The first one is about the custody, so how the bitcoins that are introduced, that are provided by the users, are managed by the network. Because you have to know that Dcus is a decentralized solution. But the main point of difference between this solution and all the other solutions is the algorithm that is used as a consensus. So to be assured that nothing bad will happen inside the platform. This is also the reason because they are able to use an under-collateralized system. They are saying that they could be able to manage it with a collateralization of just 20%. They are leveraging a study that has been published also by different main scientific publications, and what they are doing is, instead of having a system that requires 501 nodes in order to approve a single transaction, they are dividing in a completely different way all the different nodes, and they are using a system that groups all of them in group of 3 nodes. Through this system, the algorithm it is allowing you to reduce the risk and to reduce also the collateral. I will not enter into the technicality, but if you go to their Medium account, that you can find it here, into the Medium account you can find all the different news and all the different technicality about their system. You can also use, if you prefer, the documentation, that is this link here. You will find several information that will help you to understand how does it work. On the other side, they have also introduced another concept. So they are not only introducing a new system in order to reduce the collateralization and reduce the risk through this algorithm that is helping to keep decentralization about the custody, but at the same time not to have to over collateralize the system. On the other side, they have introduced also another novelty, and I'm talking about the SaaS. And this is probably the idea that I love at most. Because yes, it's nice to know that they are improving the technicality, but on the other side, what I really care is how they are working in order to make it more accessible for users, to create more use cases. And I like the idea to introduce the SaaS, that is just like representing one Satoshi, so just a small part of Bitcoin. And this is something that could be really useful for the whole industry, because one of the main problems of using Bitcoin inside DeFi is that it is one single Bitcoin is quite big. Right now we are talking about around 50k. It could be 60k in the next future, 70, 100k. And the problem is that most of the people are not moving so high funds. So if, for example, you want to move only $200, you will have in front of you a number like 0.0021 or whatever. And this is quite difficult to calculate immediately the amount of dollar that you are investing through Bitcoin. So for all this reason, using a unit of measure that is smaller, it could be helpful in order to give you the ability to have an immediate, at the first glance, to the amount that you are using and investing through a DeFi platform. In this case, they are using the SaaS, so they are using the Satoshi unit of measure by Bitcoin. And so the concept is quite simple. If, for example, we have a look to their app, this is the app, this is the Mint feature. So here you can just deposit a certain amount of Bitcoin. In this case, the minimum amount is 0.1, and you receive a certain amount of SATS. A SATS, remember, is just 1 million of 1 Bitcoin. Remember that this feature, so this the Bitcoin, the SATS that you receive at the moment are supported on the Binance Smart Chain. In the next future, the idea is to create even more cross-chain features and also to be able to support more assets. At the moment, this feature is working only on Binance Smart Chain. As you can see, the way it works is pretty easy because you have just to choose the amount of Bitcoin that you want to deposit and you will receive some sats. Obviously, you have to previously connect your wallet. If for any reason you want to redeem them, all you have to do is again just deposit your sats and you will receive in exchange your Bitcoin. Different story is if you want to become a keeper. So if you want to participate to the custodian system and start to earn some rewards. Because as you can also see from their Medium, actually they are offering a 300% of APY to people that are using the keeper system, or as you can see it from here. The first batch of keepers has enjoyed a 300% plus APY. So right now the rewards for becoming keepers are quite high and they are rewarding through the DCS token, so the Decus token, that is the token obviously of the platform. This token will be also the governance token of the Decus protocol. What I want to show you right now is how you can run a keeper node, so how you can participate to the keeper process. I would say in advance that is something that almost anyone can become, but there are a couple of things that you have to remember. The process is smooth, but it requires some time. It's not something that you can set in just a couple of minutes. It requires from 1 to 2 hours, so a quite longer period. On the other side, it requires also to use a server, so it is something that it's not difficult because you don't have to be a dev in order to use it. But on the other side, it requires at least the time and the effort to read the documentation, and as you can see it, the documentation is not so long, but it's not even so short. You have to go through all of it, and at the end you will be able to run a node. So obviously this is something that is not for everyone, but on the other side it could be also another system to diversify your portfolio and to access to a decent amount of APY. So guys, let's try to summarize what we have said. In the moment when we are talking about Bitcoin and DeFi, we are talking about something that it has just begun to be used inside the DeFi system. We are talking about the biggest crypto, but with still a really so small amount of utilization inside DeFi. And the main problem is because Bitcoin is not supporting, at least for now, any smart contract, and in order to use it on other blockchain, it requires a bridge. But not all the technologies are so ready. So we are not in the moment when a technology that is enabling us to use it at the best way. We are still in a young phase where we are seeing different companies experimenting something and trying to introduce the best solution. What I want to invite you is to try to think in this way, because the more you are aware of how the market is evolving, what are the different challenges that we have to face in order to bring this market to another level. Because probably if you look at this chart, you can see, yes, this is impressive, but the reality is that we are talking still about a market of only 200 billion. 200 billion is really a small market if you think how big is the whole financial market. So the more we are able to build solutions that are able to increase this value, the more value we can create for the whole community, and the more we will be able to earn and to create something that will empower solution time by time more powerful. Guys, as always, if you have any kind of question, just write me into the comment section below and I will be more than happy to answer to you. Remember also that the best way, if you like this kind of content, to sustain me and this channel is to leave me a big thumbs up and drop a comment. Guys, thank you for following me and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.